Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where you meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Hello, Shipping Podcast lovers. This is the 46th episode of the Shipping Podcast. I have just come back from the Vista International AGM and conference, this year held on board the MS Koningsdam of the Holland America line. I'm so energized. It's such a pleasure, and it gives me so much energy to meet all these old and new friends who attend the Vista International AGM. I wish I could bottle it up and share it with you, because going to the Vista International conferences is something completely different to going to any other maritime conference all over the globe. I promise you, I've been to a few. I have managed to capture some wonderful interviews for you with women, which will be released early next year. But in this episode, the 46th one, we meet Kevin Richard. He is a business development manager at the Bermuda Business Development Agency, who I met at the CMA in March this year. Kevin has a lot of financial services experience. He's been the marketing manager at GE Canada, and he has also been with GE in London. In addition to that, he has spent 5 years in the insurance industry with Ace Group in London and Bermuda. He will tell you all about that. So Bermuda is a 21 square mile self-governing British overseas territory, which I didn't know that much about before I met Kevin. But there is a lot of insurance, international finance, and other multi-industry expertise located in Bermuda. Kevin will tell you all about it. So, without further ado, this is Kevin Richards for you. Kevin Richard, welcome to the Shipping Podcast.
Thank you very much. I am a Bermuda Business Development Agency manager, and I focus on the shipping and aircraft industry, looking to promote the industries in Bermuda and accelerate growth in those industries.
So how did you enter the shipping industry?
I recently joined our agency, which is a public-private partnership, in September. And I had some experience in the oil and gas space working for General Electric in Canada for the last 2 years and working for GE in total for 4 years. So I had some space with the product. And now I've been cutting my teeth on the actual shipping industry and helping to support our stakeholders in Bermuda.
So you're completely new.
I'm very new, and I'm loving it.
How did you get the bug?
My brother's a shipping lawyer.
Oh.
So he works for Conyers, Dillon Pearman, which is one of our largest and oldest law firms in Bermuda. And so I've been living vicariously through him, understanding sort of how Bermuda plays in the offshore space, supporting some of the larger shipping companies in the world, from registration and to company incorporation. And, I find my personality is one of my biggest assets. So being a business development manager, promoting Bermuda is, the best job one could ask for.
So why should the shipping industry be interested in Bermuda?
It's a great time to be in shipping in Bermuda. We are moving from a government agency to a authority. So I think it's a fantastic time to be involved in shipping in Bermuda, because we're going through what we're calling a revitalization of the industry. Historically, Bermuda has always been a shipping nation, being a tiny island in the Atlantic. But we're moving our registry department into an authority. And so I think we'll be on that best practice standard similar to some of the top registries in the world. And we've always been a blue chip player as a registry. As a Red Ensign Group member and a Category 1 member of the Red Ensign Group, but we've never really been out really promoting to grow that industry. So the partnership between the registry and my organization is really going to accelerate that growth. And at the same time, we've got some really cool events like America's Cup that's come to Bermuda. So in 2017, we'll be hosting the America's Cup event. And so there's, about $1 billion worth of infrastructure investment coming into Bermuda. So there's a lot of, the stars are aligning, as I say, and we're discovering that Bermuda has a very deep shipping ecosystem that we can pull on, where we've got a lot of expertise, where either companies will have their head office in Bermuda and they'll have been there since the 80s, or there's some management companies that are leveraging the jurisdiction and doing a lot of ship management from Bermuda, to companies that have moved from very strong registries like Singapore and come to Bermuda to register their vessels and have their head office in Bermuda.
So what is a registry? If I'm completely new to shipping, what is a registry?
A shipping registry is a place where you can register your vessel, whether it be a cargo ship or a yacht, and have it physically domiciled in that jurisdiction. Because shipping is a global industry, places like Bermuda that may not be the place where most of the crew is from, you may have a Filipino crew, mostly Filipino crew, but your shipping owner might be from Norway, but their boat might be registered in Bermuda. It's a global industry. So places like Bermuda that have positioned themselves as global financial centers the synergies between Bermuda and these sorts of industries are very strong. And so we offer not just registry business, but we have very strong insurance, reinsurance companies. I think half of the P&I clubs are located in Bermuda. So you have this one-stop shop effect going on in Bermuda where you can be on the ground in Bermuda and is a 2 square mile radius where you can go business to business and talk to your main stakeholders.
Mm-hmm. So we're not just talking tax systems here.
No. And, you hear that a lot. And Bermuda is a different place. It's a different world in Bermuda. Bermuda is the second country outside of the EU to have Solvency II equivalency, where we're able to be considered the same as a EU country. Bermuda has the regulatory capability to operate like an EU member state. Our regulator, the Bermuda Monetary Authority, has done a lot over the past 10 years to ensure that Bermuda is a well-oiled machine and the companies that are in Bermuda are legitimate. The reasons that they're there are legitimate, and that we know who the beneficial owners are of those companies. So that if something goes wrong, we can connect with, our onshore partners and report, okay, this is the person who's the beneficial owner of that company, and this is what they've been doing in Bermuda. So we take that very seriously, and we take our reputation very seriously.
How do you see shipping in the future in general?
I think we still want to be a niche player. We don't want to be Marshall Islands or Panama, but we want to rifle shoot the top blue chip players, and we want them to come to Bermuda. We think that's our brand. We're a small place, but we are a high level player, and we want to entice those sorts of people to come to Bermuda. The type of people that would go to an America's Cup event, the type of business people that really value the mind of management that you want to have running your company. Those are the type of people that we want to entice to come to Bermuda and leverage not just the shipping space, but everything else that we have to offer in the financial service industries.
So all kind of segments of ships.
Yes. We can take, as you said, we're a category 1 member in the Red Ensign group, so we can handle any class of vessel. And, because we're going to become an authority, we're going to be able to grow and have the surveyors to handle more ships. So we currently have a lot of passenger vessels, quite a number of cruise ships that are in Bermuda. We have a lot of tankers, LNG tankers that are on our registry. And so we're looking to, compete as well on the yachting side as well. We've got some of the largest yachts that are in Bermuda. I think Roman Abramovich's yacht is in Bermuda. And so we've got, very nice bits and pieces. But my job is to bring all of that together into one cohesive strategy and be able to talk to people about that.
Mm-hmm. I see. It's interesting.
It's great. I'm having a lot of fun.
So how did you start that business development thing?
Luckily, they had been doing it in the risk sector, in reinsurance, and in the trust and asset management sector. So when I joined the team, I had a nice template to leverage. But I was doing growth for General Electric in oil and gas for a number of years. So I think that's what my role is growth. And I feel like I can do it across multiple industries. And so it doesn't matter whether it's shipping, whether it's aircraft, or whether it's trusts. If I learn enough about those industries and can speak intelligently on that subject, I feel like I can pull people together and connect people to the main experts on the ground in Bermuda. And that's kind of what our job is, to make that transition from whoever you're using right now to Bermuda as seamless as possible, and to make your experience in Bermuda one that makes you want to come back and stay.
Okay. It's a little bit hard to know what questions I should put to you, because usually I put a lot of questions about the shipping industry and the developments on the technical side and things like that.
Well, I mean, for the preparation for America's Cup, we're doing a lot of infrastructure in the new marina. So we're expanding our marina there. We're looking to restructure the entire registry setup. So right now we've got chief surveyor and registrar of shipping, But if you look at the size of some of the other registries, they're a lot bigger than ours. So I think moving them outside of government is going to enable them to keep a lot of their profits and to grow a lot faster and be able to support their clients. So it's more that transition phase right now. I think it's a great time to get to know Bermuda because we're in that transition where we're looking for feedback from experts so that we can make sure that our registry looks like they want it to look. And you don't get that in most places. You don't have the access to the decision makers in other places that you get in Bermuda. And through our agency, through the Bermuda Business Development Agency, we're able to connect people to government, to connect them with the registrar of shipping, registrar of companies, the top law firms that might be tailored to what their needs are. And we do provide that bespoke service that enables people to get the most out of Bermuda. And it's not the same for everybody.
How big is Bermuda? How many people live there?
Around 60,000 people, 21 square miles. So, it's, about 40 something miles across and a mile and a half wide, depending on what area of the country, you're talking about. Okay. But there's about 5 islands that they've connected through bridges. And, it's a wonderful place to visit as a tourist. And I think, we're different because we have such a strong business community in Bermuda.
But you're still under British sovereignty?
Yes. And, as a Bermudian, I think it's a great thing. I have a British passport and I've worked 5 years in London. So I think the Bermudians, as we grow up, we're able to go into Europe and work and get that experience and bring that back home. So when you do business in Bermuda, you have a very savvy group of people that you're working with that have gone abroad to the US, to Canada, to London, to Germany, to France, and have got that experience abroad. And it's a very interesting place that you don't really find in most Caribbean countries and most offshore jurisdictions.
So what kind of businesses is done in Bermuda? Insurance
and reinsurance is our strongest industry. If you look at the insurance sectors around the world, I would say London is number 1, and then New York and Bermuda are 2 and 3, and very competitive. That's our bread and butter, and that's our strength. We've been able to take that strength and that core skill set and transition it to other industries. So on the captive insurance space, we're doing a lot of cross-selling where I'm telling a lot of my owning companies, well, you can manage some of your risks yourself and have a segregated captive company that you maintain your own profits, and those profits go back into your own organization. And then you put the rest of your risks back into the market as you currently do with all of your insurance, and then you manage it that way. So there's business components to the insurance, reinsurance industry, to the trust and asset management industries that we're tailoring towards shipping and aircraft that we think is really, really cool and is going to differentiate us from some of the other players in the industry.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's something we're developing right now. And that's why I'm very excited about my role is I have specific industries to focus on. And I've got colleagues that have products that they've been developing for a number of years. And so I can take those products and apply them to the shipping space. And we've got a level of sophistication that is not normal in a 21 square mile place.
I can understand that. Who would you want to listen to in a shipping podcast? Who do you think I should interview?
Well, I think Mr. Fredrickson is a shipping magnate, and as someone who has shown his commitment to Bermuda, I would love to hear him on your podcast. Some of our other partners, I think Ardmore Shipping is one of our newest, members for one of my focus group. And we're really excited to have them because they came out of Singapore and chose Bermuda as their jurisdiction of choice. And they've got a number of ships that are registered in our registry. So there's a reason that some of these very leading companies have done that and have chosen Bermuda. And I think, what we expect to see is that the industry will follow some of these leaders. So I think those are some of the key players. Jens Allers is a good friend of mine at Bernhard Schultz. And he's been helping educate me over the last 6 months and kind of how to navigate the industry and to get me up to speed on, drinking through the fire hose to get to know everything I need to know about the industry. And, he's one of the management companies that are located in Bermuda. And I think we've got a really strong group of intellect in Bermuda that they all use the jurisdiction in different ways. And so for me, it's just understanding, okay, when I meet someone, how can I tailor what they're looking for to what we have and then make that happen as easy as possible? I think not everyone's going to want to use Bermuda in the same way. And but we do have solutions for many different people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Kevin. So, have you done this favor that I asked you in the last episode? I wanted you to answer a survey. It's important for me, and it's important for the shipping industry to be compared to the rest of the industries in the world. Please go to www.survey.libsyn.com/shippingpodcast and answer 5 questions about who you are as a listener to this podcast. That will help me a lot. Please. And when I was away, I got a new review for the Shipping Podcast. If you just knew how much that means to me. This is Kendall Messer from Australia, who wrote, "So grateful for this podcast and the clever work of Lena in creating it. I am a maritime law student, and I listen every week for the practical insight every one of Lena's guests brings. Awesome. I wish more of you wrote what you think about the podcast. It can be constructive things that I don't really understand. That it's so hard to know what to think about the podcast. When I meet people, I get it in real life. Then people start to talk to me about the podcast. I would appreciate some constructive criticism as well. You're welcome. And the more you write reviews on iTunes, preferably, the bigger the chance that this podcast actually reaches the top 10 lists. We are on our way, but we need more. We need more people to listen, and we need more reviews. And I would really appreciate it. It's rather lonely to be a podcaster in the shipping industry, I promise you. I love the industry, I love my guests, and it's so much fun doing this, but it's rather lonely. So this episode was the last one that I made when I visited the CMA in March in the USA. So from now on, there will be a little bit different interviews. I'm trying to get into all aspects of our industry and lift things up that I can see, and that people that I meet that I think are doing new things, innovative things, and that can explain the industry to the people who doesn't really know it yet. I hope you enjoy it. Looking forward to your comments, your reviews, and especially your answers to the survey. So thank you very much for listening. Until the next time, from me to you, over and out. Thank you for listening to the Shipping Podcast. Don't forget to tell everyone that you meet that there is a shipping podcast where the maritime professionals are talking about their everyday job.